is also free. It's Wi-Fi on our phones that we pay $120 a month for. That's also free. So I felt a transition happening to me, and I remember getting my passport in the mail. And who in here, can you raise your hand? This is participation now. Can you raise your hand if you have a passport? I noticed one thing. The majority of African American individuals did not raise their hands. And that leaves me to believe, as a Haitian man told me, I may not have a bottle of water as you do. I may not have a house like you do because I only have a bed. But I can say to you that I'm free, and American black people are not free because they don't even have the opportunity to pass through the ports. They're still shackled to America because they cannot leave America because they think that a passport is $500 when it really is $175. And I'm looking at this man like, what? How did I get to this man? On that day that I made the decision to go abroad, I'd had my interview at the University of Chicago for a position. My interview was at the Starbucks on Roosevelt and Wabash. My interview was at the same place that I was now sitting inside being interviewed for a health outreach position for HIV/AIDS. But then as I'm being interviewed, the director of the program, Matt Richards, says, what is something right now that has been pinnacle in your life? And it hit me. I remember being at that Starbucks 4 years ago, but I was on the outside. And I remember I was on the phone with my mother, and when I told my mother that I had HIV, now mind you, this is after my first attempt to kill myself. This is after me running in the street to get hit by a taxi, but that didn't work. And I remember calling my mother, and I'm looking at that glass at the Starbucks, and I'm thinking to myself, can they who are sitting in Starbucks see HIV on me? Because I thought my brother looked like he had HIV. I thought my aunt looked like she had HIV. And I remember my mother asking me a question. And it's the reason why I know I'm still here. And she said, David, do you want to live or do you want to die? And that's the question that we have to ask people when we begin going out of this place. Do you want to live or do you want to die? Because currently I see a lot of empty seats of death. I see a lot of empty seats of hopelessness. I see a lot of empty seats of people not knowing what to do. But I'm so glad that a black woman told me, baby, I know that you're faithless right now, but I'm going to stand in for you and have your faith for you. So as I left this interview, I walked from Roosevelt and Wabash all the way down to the University of Chicago because I had to remind myself where I came from, how I got back to this place, this full circle place. And as I was walking down Cottage Grove and 57th Street, my eyes were illuminated to something on the right. And I was like, this is a really beautiful greenery. What is this place? And me being an artist, different, unique, peculiar, I sat in the middle of this green because there's an art fixture here and an art fixture there. And I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. And I turn around and I see DuSable Museum. Now, mind you, I grew up in one of the best school districts in the world, District 204. I knew Gwendolyn Brooks because once a week in our school district, in that school, we were educated about Gwendolyn Brooks. Now, this is a primarily white community being educated about Gwendolyn Brooks. And I got my handy-dandy phone out, and I began researching Jean Point Baptiste DuSable. And I began to cry. I was embarrassed. Because I found out that this was the first person, a man of color, a Haitian man, that settled in Chicago. And since I'm a man of faith, I began writing down my affirmations. I am an international speaker. I am an international ambassador of hope. I am going to help the people of Haiti. April 30th, my booking agent calls me and says, "What's going on, David?" I said, "I'm chilling." She says, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, there's an opportunity for you to go to Haiti. Do you want to go?" I said, "Sure." She said, "Well, your flight leaves this Friday at 7 a.m. And when I went to Haiti, I had a paradigm shift, and I'm bringing that paradigm shift back to Chicago. Because if you don't know who Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable is, the Haitian man that founded the same place, in 2010, I want you to hear the date. In 2010, they finally made a bridge after him where he founded the same land. He didn't find the South Side. I want you to know that. He didn't find the West Side. He found the Loop and the Gold Coast area. This is just a little historical information for you. He found the Magnificent Mile. And as I look at all of these hues of caramel and light-skinned and dark-skins and browns and whites and vanillas, he founded this place that we call home. And yet we have not given him the credence to look beyond our community as residents and look at this thing as global citizens. If you do not have a passport, you are not a global citizen, but you are remaining in the rut of being a community resident. Why do I say that? I was attacked in Haiti. My Western view, I was thirsty. In a line of 7,000 people waiting in line to see 2 doctors and 1 nurse. The area is called Creux des Mouchamps. And they only had 3 days for medical clinic. And from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m., there were thousands of people waiting to get topical cream, waiting to just get a checkup. And I'm like, why am I here? And I just remember me knowing some of the issues for some of the young men, and I'm like, hey, you got something wrong down there? They're like, no, I'm good, but they're itching. And I'm like, do you have something going on down there? I can help you. And about 4 guys broke down and was like, it doesn't look good down there. I've been like this for months. So after that, I had to take a breather, and I remember walking out, and there was a line of people, and I got thirsty and drank my water, and next thing I know, I'm in the hands of a couple of people, and they're snatching my bag off of me, and they're taking my water, and me, being a community resident, I said, what's going on, to the security guard? And he said, you have to get back into the perimeter. They are not used to having bottled water. I said, well, let's just get them some water. He said, we don't have 5,000 bottles of water right now, David. We only have 250 bottles of water, and that's for the people who are working in the medical clinic. There's no Sam's Club, because I could have quickly got 5,000 bottles of water. There's no Walgreens. There's no Jewel. There's no Costco. So one thing that I've learned from this experience is that my love for my community is shifting. My love for my community is shifting dramatically. It shifted when I was in Haiti. No longer will I be the hopeful person that gives you this great gregarious smile, but I'm gonna love you and love you with chastisement love. Because love does not feel good sometimes. And we should not feel good knowing that we are not doing enough for individuals that do not have what we have, and we think that we are poor, but yet we are not sitting in dirt, but we are sitting in a place that has air conditioning, and we think that we have it bad, and we don't. And people with nothing would bombard the opportunity to have coffee, would bombard to have opportunities to speak to people of greatness, and we just stop caring. And then we wonder why there's no access in our communities, because if you don't use the money, if you don't use these tests and get tested, the money leaves our communities. Haiti is the first Caribbean place where slaves were freed. No one knows that though, but we say, I'm black and I'm proud. I got this. My hope. And I saw what my word hope meant from a different place, helping other people evolve. HIV passes through the portals of our blood. And HIV is passed through the portals of this world. And HIV passes through the portals of our communities, and yet we still sit. And yet we still complain. And yet young men still come and are diagnosed with AIDS when they're 18 years old because they're afraid that we're stigmatizing them because of what they do behind closed doors and who they are behind closed doors. And